Greatness. Great men and women are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Great people are not born great, they grow great. So as you search for the right career path and gradually become great, let your dreams light up your path and your inner radiance shine for the world to see.
Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Center Circle Show with me, Adelani Ogrunyade, bringing you the very latest from the world of sport. On the show today is Emmanuel Akura-Ada. He's our in-house analyst on the show today. Well, we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the World Cup qualifiers. Things are definitely heating up in Africa, Europe, and South America. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Center Circle Show with me, Adelani Ogrunyade and Emmanuel Akura-Ada. Well, before the break, I told you we'll be talking about the World Cup qualifiers. And yeah, I'm the kind of presenter that actually sticks to his word. Now, we'll be starting with the Nations Cup qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers. I don't know why I always say the Nations Cup, maybe because there are lots of African countries that will be discussing, but on the African continent, I mean, we saw Nigeria impress. We saw teams like even Zambia has impressed me. Which team has impressed you?
I would say Zambia for one, because I mean, we never expected them to play the way they did, considering the fact that they lost their first game to Nigeria 2-1 in Zambia, there in Lusaka, and they beating the first leg against Algeria. They got a red card, they won 3-1, going away to Algiers and still winning 1-0. To me, they were the team that impressed me more, although you're not going to take anything away from Nigeria, because, I mean, the coach came in, I remember yourself and I, we never gave him a chance because of his prior inexperience, I mean, on this continent. And we thought coming into Nigeria as a coach who don't have a CV, who don't have a rich CV, that everyone will be looking at, we're expecting him not to do very well with the Super Eagles. But the team,
I mean, we'll talk about the Super Eagles in more detail shortly. But what about the likes of Ghana, Ivory Coast? Well, I mean, what have you seen from them in this nation?
I've seen something. Like Ivory Coast, for instance, they went to Gabon. They were able to get a very convincing result there. But they're coming back home, they lost to a Gabon side that I wasn't impressed with the result. I was expecting them to get 6 points over the Gabonese side, but they were unable to do that. And the Ghanaian side as well, they drew in their home, going away to win. These are matches that one would think they can easily get 6 points in these two matches, but then they were unable to do that. So that shows that the football on this continent has evolved.
Has evolved indeed. All right, now, without further ado, let's talk about the Super Eagles and their exploits. Beating Cameroon 4-1, then going to Yaoundé to draw with Cameroon. Now, Super Eagles, the coach of Cameroon, Hugo Bruce, was quoted as saying that the Super Eagles is a young team, of players, and he sees them actually doing well in years to come, but he feels that the World Cup would be a bridge too far for African countries. Now, from what you've seen from the Super Eagles, do you think they have it in them to actually win the World Cup 2018?
Adelani, one thing about soccer that people fail to understand is your commitment, your dedication. How do you want it? You see teams that don't have quality players, don't have superstars, but when they play and you play with a zeal to win, you will surely get a result. And the Super Eagles, nobody on this continent, I'm telling you, nobody envisaged they would get a result. The result they got against the Cameroonian side, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who won the Nations Cup just recently. And then you have the Super Eagles with the likes of Mikel, who are now playing their trade in China. You have the likes of Igalo, who are still in China. You have small, but like I said, it's a young side. But then we have a young side that is well determined to get a result. A young side that it's well experienced when you talk about national team. The likes of Musa, who have been there, they're young, but they've been with the national team for so long. You have the Mikel, who has been there for a while now. So it's about determination, it's about dedication. So you see the Super Eagles.
All right, so Gernot Rohr, what do you think Gernot Rohr is doing right with the Super Eagles?
I think the most important thing is they trust when you instill that trust in the confidence, when you believe in these people and you allow them to express themselves without any restriction, you see what we are seeing now in Super Eagles. And the team cohesion is there. You look at this team right now, what they are doing, right? Nobody, I mean, we don't have the so-called superstars. The likes of Mike is the only superstar we have that they can mention. You have the likes of Onazi who are now playing the trading. These are players that on a very good day, nobody will even give them a mark. But you see what they're doing on the national team. And they're playing with all their heart. That only shows the discipline the coach has instilled in the team. And it's a very, very good team.
So you see them going far in
I see Nigeria, with what I've seen so far, I see Nigeria being the only African team that will do well in Russia come 2018.
All right. Well, given the cold conditions of Russia, it might be difficult for the African team.
I mean, they've been playing it. They played in China, playing in England. The likes of Musa played in Russia before. So, I mean, it's not going to be a new thing to them.
All right. Now, let's look at the indomitable Lions. You see, but their performance was really scary. They actually didn't play well.
Yeah.
You know, the indomitable Lions that actually won the Nations Cup is what we were expecting.
Yeah, they were too complacent, I would say, because they felt then that they are going to Super Eagles is going to be a game, a walkover match for them, and they were very shocked at what they got, because the Super Eagles were well determined, they were well prepared, well organized than they were. You look at the likes of Ekong, Trust, that guy, Leon Balogun, these guys were very solid. So you look at the Indomitable Lions right now, they are going through crisis. True, because some of the players that they were relying on, some of them have retired and they're not playing anymore. And then they have also a young side, but the team understanding wasn't there for them.
For Cameroon, I mean, immediately after the Nations Cup, so many people would put their money on Cameroon to be in the 2018 World Cup. We've also seen some teams like Algeria, the Desert Foxes, not performing, and it's sad indeed, because Algeria was one of the teams who were tipped to actually do well.
I did before when they drew these groups like Nigeria, Algeria, Zambia, and Cameroon. I gave up hope that Nigeria is not going to qualify among these great teams. You know, we're talking about the likes of the PFA Footballer of the Year. Mahrez is there, former PFA Footballer of the Year. And the rest of the players were there. And you look at this team, it's a very good team. #1 ranking in Africa as of the time the group stages took place, when they drew the group stage. And then you see how the performance is just alarming for the Algerian national team. We don't know what is happening. We don't know if it is in-house crisis. We don't understand what is going on, but they've been very poor lately.
Okay. Well, we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the football happening beyond our shores. Stay tuned. Well, what can we say? The World Cup qualifiers is definitely heating up, and we've seen the likes of Germany, Poland, and also the likes of England. Well, they have 1 foot in the World Cup, may I put it that way, but they've been playing really well. Belgium has already booked its place in the 2018 World Cup. And on the European stage, any team you particularly scared of?
Germany, we all know Germany. It's not a new team. It's not a new thing, rather. It's a team since 2000 when they restructured their football. We see they've been doing very well. Now they have a youthful side that is playing fantastic football. And the England national team, well, they don't do very well when it comes to competitions, but on qualifiers, they do pretty well. Poland is also doing very well there. And France disappointed me. France and Netherlands, these are 2 teams that disappointed me so much, because for a team like, a rich team like France to draw against Luxembourg, I mean, look at that team. The entire French team can buy the entire Luxembourg as a country. But you see how poor they were. And the Netherlands also they're struggling to qualify. And it's alarming, right? It's not alarming in a way, because football has evolved, like I said. Smaller teams are stepping up. they are not. They want their names to be heard everywhere. They want their faces to be seen in bigger tournaments like Russia 2018. So I expected all this to happen, but with
I think the French team sometimes is overconfidence. They have a galaxy of stars representing them, the likes of Dembele, the likes of Thomas Lemar, Lacazette, Giroud.
There's so many
superstars.
The thing is, I think the coach is finding it difficult to bring them together. Because when you play as individuals, you don't play together as a team. That's why I say it's a team. It's a teamwork. Football is a teamwork. If you don't play together as a team, then you're bound to experience something like this. But then when you bring that team cohesion, when the team cohesion is there, then you start getting results. Forget your ego. You've been signed 60 million or 70 million. That has nothing to do with the national team. When you go to the national team, you go with only one mindset that we are going to represent a nation. We have a common goal. Irrespective of how much you earn, where you come from.
I mean, teams like Belgium and England seem to have gotten it right, the team cohesion.
Yeah, they've gotten it right, but with the English national team and the Belgium side, like I said, they have a lot of stars, and when it comes to qualifiers, they do very well. But then when it gets to the tournament is where we don't see them, and that is one thing they need to rectify.
All right, now let's talk about the South American end. And we see Chile, they're struggling to actually qualify for the World Cup. And Chile, basically, they've been impressive over the last 3 years or so, very consistent, winning the South American crown twice in the last, since 2014, really. So what do you think is happening with Chile all of a sudden? Do you think it's fatigue? They've played too many games, the Confederations Cup, so many games.
Look, there's one thing that, before I answer that question, there's one thing that German national team is doing that I like so much. What the German national team is doing is that they're trying to bring young players who played in the under-21, under-23 to also play. We look at the Confederation Cup. If you look at it, you see the younger players win, the likes of Rudiger, who were not the first team players in Germany. And Germany were able to get players who are going to replace the ones that are leaving. But in the Chilean national side, you look at them right now, the likes of Sanchez, we have only one Sanchez in Chile. We have only one Arturo Vidal. We have only one Medel. We have only one Eduardo Vargas. These are the only players we have in the Chilean national team. Then you're not bringing the young stars to come and be able to get the experience. When it comes to friendly matches, the essence of you having that friendly matches for you to be able to expose these younger ones, for them to get that experience and bring them, they will graduate to the national team. But then we're not seeing that with the Chilean. So I think everybody in the South America is trying to understand their way of play now. There's no new thing, no new faces to the team. So they are finding it very difficult against their fellow South American teams. Yeah.
I mean, Bolivia beating them by a solitary goal. And let's just go through some of the results from South America. Venezuela and Colombia could only manage a goalless draw. Paraguay too strong for Chile and winning 3-0. And Uruguay 0-0 against Argentina. Brazil beat Ecuador by 2 goals, and then Peru edging Bolivia 2-1. Then came a Tuesday's round of matches during the week. Bolivia beating Chile 1-0, and Chile has lost to Paraguay, and now Colombia 1-1 with Brazil. Ecuador lost 2-1 to Peru, and Argentina also was struggling to get their scoring boots on, only drawing 1-1 with Venezuela. And Paraguay and Uruguay, well, Uruguay managed a 2-1 win in that game. Yeah. Well, from what we've seen in South America and also in Europe, do you think South America and Europe are bound to dominate in next year's World Cup again?
Delany, I'd like to use that word again. When you say football has evolved, you're talking about the changes that are coming from smaller countries and smaller continents. It's not just about the South America. We see that Brazil is not the world champions anymore. We're not seeing that from South America. Argentina, we see they're struggling these days. You look at the way what they played. 2 bad results. The same with Chile. And then you look at, in Africa, you come to Africa, you see fantastic teams that are doing very well. They don't have the so-called superstars, the world stars, but they are playing quality and good football. So it's very difficult for one to decide if the Europeans are going to dominate or the South Americans are going to dominate, or the African continent is going to dominate. But I'm just waiting for 2018 to see exciting tournament.
Okay. Well, we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the English Premier League because it's definitely going to heat up today. And also, guess who's back in the ring? Anthony Joshua will be fighting someone very shortly. I'll be giving you the details of the boxing bout and much more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Center Circle Show, and we've been talking about the World Cup qualifiers. Emmanuel Okura has been impressed with what is seen in Africa so far, and he believes that Africa can match the Europeans and the South Americans in next year's World Cup. What do you think? All right, we'll be switching our attention from the World Cup qualifiers to the English Premier League, and the English Premier League so far has definitely been exciting. We saw Liverpool absolutely demolish Arsenal last week or the week before that, and now they're going to be faced with Manchester City. Now, Manchester City Liverpool is definitely the pick of the bunch this weekend.
It is, Adela, and it's a very difficult match. Two great teams, teams that have signed quality players, teams that have two good coaches. It's going to go down to the coaches and their tactics. How are they going to line up against each other? We see Coutinho now is back in the lineup. We're waiting to see if he's going to be able to play the same way he was playing, considering what went on during the transfer. You know, so it's going to be two big teams competing against each other. A very difficult match to predict, but it's going to be an entertaining match to watch for everyone.
Okay, all right. So what are your predictions? Liverpool and Man City, who's likely to win?
I'll go with a draw with this one. I'll go with maybe score draw, maybe 2-2, 1-1. I'm not so sure,
draw.
But I'll go with a draw.
All right, Arsenal versus Bournemouth.
That's a very difficult one. Arsenal, when it comes to
Arsenal's
form, and smaller teams, when they see bigger teams, they want to play very well. Bournemouth, the last time they meet Arsenal, which was Arsenal will win anyway, but they drew 3-3, and that was a very bad result for Arsenal. It also contributed to one of the reasons why they didn't finish in the top 4 last season. They are a good side. They have experience before who's there. King is doing his thing. It's going to be a difficult one, but I see Arsenal getting 3 points from this one.
Okay, we have Everton versus Tottenham.
That's another difficult match, a very difficult one. Two of my best coaches in Premier League, coaches that give the younger boys chances to play and express themselves. And we've seen that with Coleman in Everton, where we have the likes of Tom Davies at his age of 20, doing it in the midfield. You have Pochettino in Tottenham, who has also given chances to younger players to play. And the two of them coming together is going to be a very tight, entertaining, and I'll go with a draw with this one.
All right, and Leicester versus Chelsea. Well,
but it's also a difficult one, Adelani. Chelsea, they're beginning to peak. Beating Tottenham, beating...
well, he's trying to analyze it, but we all know his heart is blue.
No, but
there's no way he would say Leicester to beat Chelsea. Just forget it. No, so we'll move on to the next one. Stoke versus Manchester United. Now, definitely, Man United has been the team to beat so far. They've scored 8 goals and they've conceded none so far in the Premier League.
Britannia has been a very difficult place for Manchester United in the last 6 meetings there. They've never gotten a result in like 6 matches or so. So, well, they are informed. They have quality players, good coach, no doubt about it. But I don't see them getting a result there.
You don't see them getting a result?
I don't see them. Maybe they'll get a draw, but I don't see them winning.
Okay, all right. Well, it remains to be seen what will happen. Well, we're just a few hours away from the kickoff of Manchester City and Liverpool. Can't wait for that one. Now, we'll be switching our attention from football briefly to boxing. And Anthony Joshua, well, the man of Nigerian descent, is going to be facing Kubrat Pulev on the 28th of October. Now, Pulev, all I know about him is he's from Bulgaria. He's a 36-year-old. He's won 25 of his 26 fights. But that is facing Anthony Joshua that would have eaten his Niger food, his eba, pounded yam, and
I don't see Pulev don't stand a chance against Joshua Adelani. You look at the age gap and you look at the two of them in terms of their physicality and other the fixtures, which I'm not going to, look at the experience as well.
Hey, but so many people said that about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's older. He's fighting a younger opponent.
No, I say the same thing. I say the same thing, though.
Oh,
I say the same thing, but this is different, Adelan. This is different. You have Anthony Joshua, who is very strong, who has won a lot of fights, and coming against someone like this, who I don't even know anything about prior to this show. I think it's going to be just a one-sided fight.
One-sided affair. Well, as long as Pulev is not taking advice from Klitschko on how to beat Anthony Joshua, he should be fine. Now, quickly switching our attention to the world of tennis, and Roger Federer was actually surprised in the US Open by Juan Martín del Potro, who beat him and will go on to face Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal won his match against Audrey Rublev. Yes, and the scores was 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. Now, tell me, Juan Martín del Potro, Rafael Nadal, who would you pick?
Come on, I'll pick Nadal anytime, any day. I mean, this guy is ranked 26 in the world. Although he was lucky against Roger Federer, but coming against Nadal, who has last won this tournament in 2013, it's going to be very difficult for him to stand a chance of winning. I'll go with Nadal to win this one.
Okay, you will go with Nadal to win it. And the Anthony Joshua one quickly, and Kubrat Pulev, he feels like it's going to be a one-sided affair. But now, I just want to give you a few stats from that. Well, he's 6'4". 25 wins and out of 26 with 13 stoppages. This might not exactly be a walk in the park fight, like we all think.
We thought the same thing about McGregor. It turned out to be something different. They wanted to entertain a lot of people. He might also decide, okay, he's going to entertain people and give them a run for their money, It's going to, I don't think that guy stand a chance of getting anything against Anthony Joshua.
Okay, well, remains to be seen, beautiful people. This has been another exciting episode of the Center Circle Show. I will be back again next week, bringing you all the latest in football and also in some other sports around us. Well, it's a goodbye from me, Adelani Ogureyade, Emmanuel Akurada. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, enjoy your sports.